Mic check 1 2 3. Check check. Mic check 1 2 3. Check check. Mic check passed. So we can begin the session as soon as someone joins in. Just waiting for people to join in to put a comment so Moksha Mukti can speak regarding that. So Ruthi Sabes says, how are you today? Hello Ruthi, thanks for joining. Namaste. I'm doing well. How are you? Daniela Mayorich. Daniela, you're back. So is Ruthi. How are you today? Daniela says, Namaste. I love listening to you. Namaste, Ruthi and Daniela. Thanks for joining. Ivan Richie, you're back also, Ivan. Namaste. She says namaste. Somebody pointed out earlier, hey, can you teach me deep breathing technique? Moksha Mukti is breathing on his own. You don't need deep breathing technique. All you need is your attention to that source. Daniela writes, please tell me, if you get really stressed out, how do you find your peace? Daniela, Moksha Mukti has pointed this before. You've heard this before. If I say this again, this would be repeat. However, I'm going to repeat this one more time just for you, okay? Are you listening? Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give your attention to that source. He's been calling that source. And when you give attention to the source, when you recognize the source, nothing will bother you. Nothing can give you stress. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. Who is giving you stress? Your own thought, isn't it? So Moksha Mukti is pointing you to recognizing that, pointing you to see that, pointing you to see the functionality. What happens when you're stressed out? It is a thought creating the stress. Isn't it? And Daniela, if you need to go one-on-one, Moksha Mukti also offers one-on-one session, and I'll provide the link below so we can go one-on-one and guide you a little deeper. You see? because Moksha Mukti has already gone this over, or you can go watch his previous video, or we can do one-on-one. Otherwise, this would be like repeating, right? Ruthie writes, I'm helping people with addiction. It's hard, but do you have advice for the addict? Ruthie, Moksha Mukti is not here to teach anybody anything. Moksha Mukti is simply pointing you to the source. He's pointing you to see the source, pointing you to recognizing the source, pointing you to experience the source. When you recognize the source, you can point them that. Or you can have them come join this session. And Moksha Mukti has gone this over about addiction. Where the addiction is stemming from. It is stemming from the thought. He has already gone over this. You can have them watch Moksha Mukti's video, or you can watch and kind of point them out. Daniela writes question mark. What's your question, Daniela? No other people are stressing me out. Well, that's good. But you had question about restaurant. How do you find peace? So what is causing you to be stressed out? Heather Marie Hayes. Hello, Heather Marie. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And she writes, hey, hi. Hey. Hello. What is causing you to be stressed out, Daniela? Just waiting for people to put some comments so Moksha Mukti can speak. Or he can speak whatever in his consciousness that appears. And some people may call that revelation. Just like when the rain happens, it happens. And when the expression or the revelation happens, or the expression happens, Moksha Mukti expresses. Otherwise, he's simply being here in the present moment, reading your comments, and those comments are pushing Moksha Mukti's button for him to speak. Jessica Lee. Hello, Jessica. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Jessica Lee writes, how can you let go of such an intense pain someone has caused you? Well, Jessica, that is the assumption. You see, letting go of a pain is assumption, and intense pain is assumption, and caused by someone is assumption. You see, we need to work together on this. You see, this takes a little time and process, because there are a lot of assumptions that is assumed by your thought. Your thought is saying that someone has caused you a problem. So what you're giving me is a lot of assumption here. What is the pain and how it caused? What is the pain? Where do you think is the pain? And where do you think, then how do you think it caused it? You have to give a little more elaborate. So Moksha Mukti is pointing to the source, where is that stemming from? And in the meantime, you see that in your own functionality, how that is happening. Ivan writes, Ruthie, I used to be an addict and clean over 10 years now. I am now a support worker helping others, so feel I am giving back. You can. Well, glad Ruthie, glad Ivan, you are not been addict for 10 years. I'm sure you enjoy that. And Moksha Mukti has already spoken regarding addiction and other things, and he can speak again, but that will be like repeating, repeating that. And if it comes up again, he can speak. But right now, what is pointing is to give attention to the source, because addiction is created by your thought. And this is true, but it is not true to you until you see that in your functionality. That's why Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see that. And when you see that, then it becomes truth for you. Heather Marie Hayes writes, how do I keep myself focused when in meditating? How often do you meditate? Heather Marie, Moksha Mukti has pointed out this before. Moksha Mukti does not meditate. However, meditation is happening to him now. Meditation happens to him all the time. Because, you see, Moksha Mukti is in natural state of being, and meditation happens to him naturally. And you are speaking about artificial meditation. Moksha Mukti does not recommend artificial meditation, but if you want to do it, do it. And he does not prescribe any many types of meditation. He is simply pointing you to give your attention to the source. And when you actually give attention to the source, meditation happens on its own. And that's the type of the meditation Moksha Mukti is pointing. And Ruthie writes, Ivan, thank you so much. Daniela writes, do you eat meat? No, Daniela, Moksha Mukti does not eat meat or drink alcohol or do any drugs. He doesn't do any of that. Jessica Lee, hello Jessica. She writes, relationship wise, how can someone keep hurting you when they say and show love? I mean, I know I am at fault. I am the one letting it happen, but isn't love supposed to conquer? Still not clear. It seems like you are hurting, but still not clear what's causing you to hurt. Still, you need to be a little bit more specific, because now you're assuming. It's possible the other person is not even hurting you. Now you're assuming. What you describing me seems like there's a lot of assumption going on. And majority of humans are hurting because of the assumption, assumed by the mind. You see, in the reality, no one is doing anything. Still, the mind thinks there is doing something, and that is causing them the problem. That's why Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source. The source is already within you. You see, it simply requires attention. It's so simple. It takes a little effort, but it requires attention. And it's so hard for humans to give their attention to the source, because thought is sucking it. Thought is hijacking your attention. Thought is demanding your attention. Thought is so foul, it grabs your attention easily, because thought is powerful. And the thought is not your thought. It is comprehensive collective thought. Anjan Kumar Mandal. Hello Anjan, thanks for joining. Namaste. And Anjan writes, dear sir, why did you put Apollo with your name? What does it mean? Hey Anjan, why do you have a why is your name Anjan? Why is your name Kumar? And why is your Mandal? Heather Marie Hayes, maybe that's why I can never meditate. It's very artificial, and I should be trying so hard to do anything. I will clear my mind and focus on my source. Namaste. Yeah, attention. Give attention. You see, simply requires your attention. No more, no less. And meditation happens on its own. And if you go back in, there was another session Moksha Mukti conducted today, and in that session, actually something really happened. See, Moksha Mukti speaking, and there's a lot of you listening, and something really happened to this person. I know from what he's commenting that he was actually experiencing some sort of source. You see, he was really experiencing that, and Moksha Mukti is pointing you to do that. And when you actually experience that, and this sessions becomes fruitful, if I may use the word, but regardless whether you don't experience it, it doesn't matter, because what Moksha Mukti is doing is simply expressing. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, Moksha Mukti is not worried. Moksha Mukti is not concerned, because everything happens on its own. Rain happens, sunshine happens, cloudy day happens, thunderstorm happens, a flower blooms. Everything happens on its own. And if it happens here, happens. Great. If it doesn't, you see, it is what it is. But if you go back and watch last video, today's session I posted on Namaste page, or if you're Moksha Mukti's friend, you can go back and check it out on his status or wall. You see the today's video. There's one person actually, by the way he's commenting, that there was some experiencing, there's some feeling, or not so much feeling, but experiencing subtle, maybe even a small amount. There is experiencing of actually seeing the source, maybe blurry, however, but actually there was a taste of it, you see. And that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing you to get that out of this, you see. And by coming here, will everyone will get that? No, because it depends on your own effort. So if you put effort, you're more likely to get it. It's more probable. Anjan says, Miles, Anjan is my first name, Kumar is my middle name, Mandal is family name. What's your name, please? Is Apollo's surname? Please answer. Well, if you have a name, don't assume Moksha Mukti doesn't have a name. He has a name. So that's the name. No need to go further. Let's talk about your experience, direct experience. That is trivial matter. Why waste your time in trivial matter? You see? Jessica Lee, I was in relationship and it was so amazing. It didn't seem true. I ended it and it was tough. I kept on and building myself again, and when I finally was okay, he came back and I let him in. No one not to give another try. It wasn't only words, but actions that followed. Come to find out he's not being so truthful. So in other words, simply what we are saying is he's cheating on you. So if he's cheating on you, you need to take action. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Jessica? Either the comment has to pop on the comment section, or something has to reveal in Moksha Mukti for him to speak. You see, otherwise there is no reason for him to speak. And what is happening here is he's pointing you to give your attention to the source. Anjan writes, I understand, sir, that my question regarding your name wasn't important, but I feel adding Apollo is damaging your image. Well, that is your assumption, Anjan Kumar. That is your assumption. Do you even know what is Apollo? You are assuming that something like that damaging your image, doing that, all that is your thought is doing that. Why give your attention to the thought? Why don't you experience what is here and now in the present moment instead of giving thought attention? Thought is going in a circle. Well, this is not right. That is not right. I don't see that right. That is damaging your image. That is gonna make you improve your image. Thought is saying all that. You see, who cares? What is here and now? That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing. Something profound. You're missing all that. No, Anjan Kumar, spacecraft, that you are mistaken. You need to do more research before you come back here and make your assumption. It's not a spacecraft. Apollo name is not a spacecraft. I mean, if it's important. Anybody Greek here? Can anybody tell Mr. Anjan Kumar what is Apollo? Greek will tell you. Jessica Lee, isn't it isn't cheating. I didn't go back with him. I gave my friendship trust a chance and he let me down, you can say. Well, same thing. However you want to word it, however you want to phrase it, but in the reality, it is what it is. You see, he let you down. That's a cheating. He cheated on you. And either way you can word it, it means the same thing. Anjan Kumar says, but I want to be clear one by one. Yeah, help Anjan out. Tell him what is Apollo. Anybody Greek here can tell you that. So what are you going to do, Jessica? He let you down. So what you going to do? Jessica writes, okay, so how can I come out of hurting besides time? So you're telling me you're hurt. You're hurt your feeling because now you assume that friends are not supposed to do that, and when you do that, it's supposed to hurt your feeling. That is taught. That is conditioned upon you. That is coming from the thought. That's what he's pointing out. Don't believe in a thought even for 15 seconds while you're here. Don't believe in that, because the thought is going to go on its own. Thought is going to happen on its own. Even if you don't believe in the thought is thinking anyway. Just simply don't give attention to that. Don't believe in the thought. Simply put your attention to the source. What is available to you now? And that is observing source. That is all happening. You see, all the thoughts are appearing and disappearing. Oh, he cheated me. Well, he let me down. All the thoughts are coming in your consciousness. They're appearing, disappear. Just observe those thoughts. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. Roseanne Stowers, right? Hello, Roseanne. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Roseanne writes, "My relationship, is it real?" I don't know if you read what is written on the above here. Moksha Mukti is not a psychic. Moksha Mukti is not a fortune teller. Moksha Mukti is not an astrologer. So you need to elaborate a little bit more about your relationship. But in the reality, is your relationship real? No. In the reality, relationship is not real. It is illusion. But in the synthetic reality, is it real? Yes, it is real in the synthetic reality. If there is a relationship, if there is a chemistry between two individuals, if there is a mutual agreement between two individuals, there is a relationship. But you need to elaborate a little bit more for me to point out. Joe Shomasgal. Hello, Joe. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Joe writes, "Sorry, I don't trust anyone who isn't open to any and all questions and just wants to know about my life experience." Joe, I'm not here to speak about your life experience. You are volunteering. If you want to ask questions about life experience, Moksha Mukti is taking questions. If you don't want to speak about your experiences, you're free to leave. You don't have to be here. Okay. But thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting your comment. I appreciate that. Jessica Lee, you reap what you sow. I don't like hurting or hatred. I'm asking, should I just not let him back in my life? Well, if it's hurting you, what would you do? If there is a splinter in your body causing you to hurt, wouldn't you taken it out and throw it out somewhere else? Brenda Lee says, Hi Brenda, thanks for joining. Namaste. Anjan writes, my question is, at present, I don't have a feeling what's good or bad for me. I am being so careless. Is it good for my future? Will it bring same result when I am careless or sensible? Or can I really change what's coming? Thank you. Okay, now you're talking, Anjan. Now that's a very good question, you see. It's okay to have no feeling or no thinking what's good or bad. You see, as long as you are not imagining. If you're imagining that, then there is a problem. But if you don't imagine, if you actually make effort to see everything happening in your experiencing, it doesn't matter what's good or bad, because good and bad is stem from the thought. Thought is saying this is good, thought is saying this is bad. It's all stem from the thought. You see. And careless is like something you not giving attention to anything. Because, see, optimally what Moksha Mukti is doing here, or Moksha Mukti is expressing, or what is happening to Moksha Mukti is he is optimizing his sensitivity of his nervous system, you see, to function in the society. So in order to do that, he doesn't need to say what is good or bad. That is already defined by the source with the sensitivity. It already knows that. But if you do not care about the sensitivity of your nervous system, then do whatever with your imagination or something else, then there is a problem. But as long as you pay attention to your sensitivity of your nervous system and do something, or at least give attention to it, so that you can fortify it, you can optimize it, and there is no problem whether you say good or bad, you see. And the careless is like, if you, that would be careless. Yeah, Moksha Mukti said that would be careless if you don't give attention to that. You see, then that would be careless. Or can I really change what's coming? Yeah, you can change what's coming. That would be like a assumption, assumed by the mind, like there is something changed, but in the reality, then nothing is changing. You see, everything is dynamic, but it changes, appears to be changing, but the source doesn't change. What is available to you doesn't change. You see, that's what Moksha Mukti is pointing to you, and that is available to you now, and that itself knows what to do. That itself can guide you. You see. Cindy Holland. Hello, Cindy. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Cindy writes, what do you mean about life experience? Your experience about life, Cindy, your direct experience about life, whether happiness, sadness, anxiety, depression, loneliness, jealousy, anger, epiphany, joy, anything that you want to share your experience or ask question about your experience, Moksha Mukti is taking those questions because he knows 99% of the human beings, all the experiences are coming from thought, and that is causing them the problem. And he is simply here to pointing you to give you attention to the source, where all the experiences will be experienced in such a way where you have possibility to create miracle in your life, you have possibility to experience infinity possibilities, and you have possibility to experience so-called bliss, and you have possibility to be home. And all your life in the reality, you are looking for that. And he is saying, speak about your experience, because most of your experiences are stemming from the thought, which is illusion. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. And by not giving attention to the thought, all of your illusion falls off, and you begin to live your life efficiently, intelligently, and rationally. You see, and then there would be no problem. You see, there will be no problem for you or anyone else reporting they have a lot of problem. You see, and that's what Moksha Mukti here, to pointing to that and pointing to the source, to give attention to that here and now in the present moment. Because majority of humans, what they're doing, they are either living in the past or the future. You see, past, they live in the past, they get depressed, they get sad, they get heartbroken. You see, all that is happening because they're living in the past, not living in the present moment. Or they are anxious. What am I going to do? Because they are anticipating about the future. Not being in the present moment, but going in the future. That is anticipation. That is causing what I'm going to do. And it's always about the tomorrow, because the thought is saying about tomorrow. Hey, thought is saying, well, today is not good, but tomorrow I'm going to make you better. So thought is saying that, and you are assuming on that, believing that thought's assumption, and say, well, today is not good, but tomorrow I'm going to have a better relationship. Tomorrow I'm going to have a better food. Tomorrow I'm going to eat healthy food. Tomorrow I'm going to have a better job. Tomorrow I'm going to get enlightened. Tomorrow I'm going to do everything tomorrow. That is anticipation. What Moksha Mukti is pointing out, be here now. The source is already available to you. Source of your happiness, if there is a happiness, so-called happiness, is already available to you. That's why he says life experience. Jessica Lee writes, TY, thank you. You're welcome, Jessica. I don't know why you're thanking me, but I accept that. Latvian Lamia. Hello, Latvia. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Latvian writes, is it okay to date a grandmaster, or should it remain teacher-disciple relationship? What Moksha Mukti points out, if he feels good, do it. If he doesn't feel good, don't do it. That's what Moksha Mukti does. However, what Moksha Mukti is pointing out, he's pointing to give attention to the source. And when you give attention to the source itself will guide you what to do. Source will guide you what to do. Cindy, I could write a book, LOL. Right now, that's exactly what I'm learning. My thoughts have contributed to a lot of junk in my life. I have learned time is an illusion and not to make permanent decision on a temporary emotion. Yes, You are exactly right. The thought have contributed to a lot of junk. Humans have collected a lot of junks in here. You see, that's Moksha Mukti is pointing out. When you give attention to the source, all of those junks fall off and you are baggage free. Then you will have a capacity to live efficiently, intelligently, and rationally, to function in the society. See, no more baggage. You see, no more stress, no more jealousy, no more anger, no more hatred. Well, all of those will be there in a physiological level. That is 10% what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. That is going to be there in the body no matter what. But you see, thought exaggerates. And the garbage, there is no room to receive anything. You see, Moksha Mukti is pointing out, and there is no room for you to receive anything if there is too much junk. Brenda Lee, thanks for sharing that, Cindy. That was a good comment. All of them comments are good, but that's a good comment. That's maybe it's trying to point you to give you attention to the source. See, all of these things is pointing you to give you attention to the source. Brenda Lee, how to connect to source other than doing meditation? Brenda Lee, Moksha Mukti has already said that 3 or 4 times already. Give your attention to that. It simply requires your attention. He's been saying this over and over again. Simply requires your attention. That's it. You see, there is no meditation needed. Meditation automatically, naturally happens when you give attention to that source. And there is no need to connect to the source. The source, connecting to the source, is already happening now. You are already connected to the source. Only thing that is missing in your experience or consciousness is the recognition that you are connected. And you can only get that through the experiences. And you will not get that through thoughts. You see, thought only assumes, thought does not know. Thought wants to know but does not know. And thought will never know that, what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. But there is something within you that knows. Anjan Kumar writes, thank you for your last detailed answer, Guruji. That's an Indian thing, you know. Some people call Moksha Mukti Guruji, some people call Moksha Mukti Swami, some people call Moksha Mukti teacher, philosopher, this, that, and the other. But in the reality, Moksha Mukti is not teaching you anything. He is simply pointing you. Anyway, he says, thank you, you're welcome, Anjan. He questioned, if people don't regret past and not concerned about the Anjan, that is true in the functionality in this realm. See, we're functioning in the society. In this realm, yes, there is a purpose, there is a motivation, all that to function in the society. And that is created by the mind. Created by the mind. You see, all the society. In there's a purpose, there's a motivation, there's all that. Because now what you're trying to do is you're trying to gather resources, share resources. In their gathering resources and share resources, functionality peacefully created by the mind, then there is a motivation. There's a motivation for you, of course. But in the reality, what Moksha Mukti is pointing out, there is no motivation, there is no purpose. Cindy writes, I am 9